Hello, and welcome to another session of virtual gentle chair yoga with Keith Beasley. My name is Bati Blumenthal. I'm the branch supervisor of the Putterham location of the Public Library of Brookline. Virtual gentle chair yoga with Keith Beasley is sponsored by the Friends of the Brookline Public Library, who sponsor this program and programs like it. As always, participation in this online yoga program could result in injury. Not all exercises presented here are suitable for everyone. These exercises are not intended to substitute for proper medical care or advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any exercise program. The creators, teachers, and producers assume no responsibility for injuries from participation in this program. And with that, I give you Keith.
And use that as a base. And we feel from underneath the feet, the soles of the feet pressing. That's one of our supports. And then the other support is the buttocks and the sitting bones. So feel those as well. So where your pelvis touches the chair is the sitting bone. So that's what we want to have anyway. So we'd like the pelvis to be in a neutral or a vertical position. So that means that if we look at the three curves in the back, the lower one, the lumbar down here, is going in slightly. The thoracic is sticking back opposite, and then the cervical, the neck, is going in like the lumbar. So if we rock too much one way or the other on the pelvis, we change the curve, and of course the support underneath changes because where we're touching the chair changes. So we'd like the pelvis to be relatively straight up and down, which usually means there's a slight arch in the lower back. Those arches in the back, the more natural they are, usually the better support the back gets, because the back was designed, we grew up that way with a natural curve in the spine. And unfortunately, with time and age and sitting so much, sometimes that curve changes, and that means that the vertebra that stack one on top of the other like this are a little bit, they don't sit so evenly next to each other. And we'd like them to sit evenly. That keeps the discs that are between the vertebrae even, or more even. And we're going to press the feet down, feel the sitting bones, and then extend the spine up. So we can extend the spine up by lifting right where the heart is. So there's the chest feels open here, right across from the sternum to the shoulders. The shoulder blades move in slightly. And the crown of the head feels like it's floating up. So let's try that a couple of times, and we'll do it on an inhalation. We'll press the feet down. When we press the feet down, we're isometrically contracting the quadriceps here. So you can actually, if you put your hands there, you'll feel them shorten when you press the feet down. And there's also a little bit of, usually the firmness comes to the belly when we press the feet. So we begin to stabilize this core area with the quadriceps and the belly firming up. And that enables us to extend the spine with more ease. A firm belly also supports the back. So we don't just use the back muscles. We feel the ribs expanding, the belly's expanding in the front. You could rest your palm there so you can feel it if you want. You could even put, if you spread your hands, fingers wide like this, you can put the pinky and ring finger down on the belly, and then put the index and thumb on the lower ribs. And the middle fingers can even touch right in the middle like this. So that when you breathe in, feel the movement down at the pinky finger and the ring finger first, and then the breath travels up into the thumb and the index finger as the ribs get a little bit more open. And then as we exhale, we go in the opposite direction. We soften the ribs, and then soften the belly. Relax the shoulders here. So let the elbows hang down. So it's important to relax the shoulders so that the spine can extend more easily. And we'll bring our attention inwards to just feeling the breath, feeling the belly filling with the breath, and then feeling the breath exhaling through the nostrils. Softening the face and eyes. Of course, you're always welcome to put your hands down whenever you want. You can keep them there too if it's helpful. So the only real rule in our yoga class is we want it to feel okay. That means no pain or discomfort. And we don't want to be over-efforting. And we don't want to feel like a lump either. So there's that balance of ease and effort and always an absence of pain. If you find that you're getting real discomfort and pain, then please stop doing whatever it is that you were doing and wait for the next exercise. And then he would say the most important tenet of yoga or teaching is in Sanskrit, it is ahimsa. So in Sanskrit, ahimsa means nonviolence. And that means not just to other people, but to ourselves. And let's go ahead and bring the hands in front of the heart and gently press the hands together. So for this exercise, spread the fingers gently apart. So we're not trying to create any problems for the hands and the fingers. We're really lining the fingers up, lining the tips of the fingers up, pressing the fingers gently, pressing the palms, or perhaps more the mounds under the fingers rather than the palms themselves. The middle of the palms is pretty hard to get them to open and press together. And gently pressing, keeping the shoulders relaxed, and then exhale and relax. So inhale, sit up tall. Exhale, press the palms or the fingers, the hands gently together. Keep them balanced too. Sometimes one side of the body is stronger than the other and tends to overpower. So see if you can bring balance to that. And then release. And then one more time, gently pressing and extending the spine up at the same time. And actually, let's try it one more time with this time pressing the feet down, extending the spine, pressing the hands together, and see if you can get a feeling of movement of this energetic, this effort that we're putting up from the feet, up through the body, all the way up through the crown of the head, maybe even up through the fingertips going up towards the sky. So gently pressing the feet, extending the spine, pressing the palms together. So you'll feel a little bit of action in the back, behind the arms, around the shoulders. But remember, no pain. No pain or discomfort here, and then relax. And let's do some cactus breaths. Inhale, so kind of loosen things up a bit. Inhaling and exhaling. You can give yourself a hug. So with cactus breath, notice that it's almost like we're flapping wings. If we were a bird, there's some ease here. The elbows never go higher than the shoulders though, but lower is okay too. So we want to keep the shoulders relaxed and the heart is opening and lifting forward, almost like the swan dive, like this. And perhaps the chin lifts ever so slightly. Try not to, anytime during our practice, try not to drop the head backwards. So we want the back of the neck to remain open during the practice. Even if the chin lifts up and down a little, We still want that nice curve in the back of the neck. And remember, you can add that hug if you want. Inhaling and exhaling. You might notice the pelvis rocking slightly. Keep the weight even on the feet, left and right. Keep the weight even on the sitting bones. So as the pelvis tilts slightly back and forth, feel the evenness. And now let's release the hands down. Let's roll the shoulders. So do one shoulder at a time to start. And notice as I'm rolling the shoulder back, I'm starting to get a little bit of movement down here in this, this area of the belly between the hip bones are right here, my fingers are, and the lower ribs, almost like I'm wearing a giant belt. One of those, I don't know if anybody has those. It used to be very fashionable to have the really big belts. And so I'm moving the shoulders back, and at the same time, there's some movement going on in the belly here. And if you can't feel that, you could even put the hands here and move the elbows back like this. And then if you can, keep that movement going and add a little bit of shoulder to it. So I've still got the turning in the belly, and now I'm lifting my elbow up and rolling the shoulder back. And let's try both shoulders. And then forward. Shoulders, the shoulder joint is a very shallow joint relative to the ball and socket here. So we want to make sure that things stay together. So if you feel things are like popping and clicking a lot, try reducing the movement and even trying to think about keeping the arms in a little bit more. So we want to have that stability. So in our yoga practice, we're always looking for mobility with stability. The two go together. And inhaling, the palms are going to float around now. So we come back. Hands are right in front of the heart to begin. And then we inhale and the hands float up and around. This could be a place where if you wanted to put something between the thighs, right? So my knee is out here, groin is here, right in the middle of the thigh. I can hold the block. This helps to activate the inner parts of the leg and the feet. And I'm going to inhale. I'm going to press those feet down, press the sitting bones down as I lift the chest up. The size of the circles here doesn't really matter so much. Look for that mobility with stability in the shoulder. And then whenever you're ready, you can go back the other way. So we can come back in the center. You could even, if you pause here for a moment, you can press like we did at the beginning of class. Press the palms together and then relax, release the hands down. They float down, palms turn up. As we inhale, they come up. So the hands are rising up on the inhalation and floating down on the exhalation. If you can, think about closing the eyes and just relying on that rhythm between the breath and the movement. Think about the movement follows the breath. Lifting the heart, and then the shoulder blades roll forward as the hands come down. See if you can bring the palms together too. It can be a little challenging if the eyes are closed. Finding that where they meet can be a little challenging at first, but after a while you get used to it and you don't actually have to look and you can bring the hands together. It can take a little practice, though. It might take more than one yoga session to do that. And that's the other thing about yoga, is that yoga is really a lifelong process. It can be beneficial in one class, but it's one of those things that the real benefit comes from regular practice over a long period of time. And that's true with any exercise program. I was thinking Tai Chi, or just recently had an annual physical with my doctor, and he said that one of the best things as you get older to prevent falls is Tai Chi. I mean, it's at least that's what the studies show, that it's probably the best practice. And we incorporate a lot of Tai Chi type things into our yoga practice. They're not really in some ways so different, but sitting up nice and tall, take a couple of breaths. See if it's a little easier to breathe in now that the shoulders are open and the ribs are a little more open. So when you breathe in, just rest the hands on the legs, feel the feet on the floor, feel the sitting bones supporting. A little sigh on the way out. And one more. And let's get all the joints going now, starting rocking the feet here. So rocking the feet, bring your attention so that you can feel the bottoms of the feet, even if your feet are in shoes. Bring your mind's eye, see if you can feel underneath in the bottom of the feet, on the soles of the feet, even if they're inside of shoes or if they're in socks even. And it's like they're a rocking chair, going forward and back. Lifting the heels, lifting the balls of the feet up. When you lift the balls of the feet up, think about spreading the toes apart. So the toes don't spread very much, but they do spread. Let's actually try this. Rest the feet for a moment. Try the hands. Hold the hands out like this. Bring the fingers together and then gently spread the hands. And bring your attention to the backs of the hands and see if you can feel what's happening there. So much of what we do in the beginning anyway, we watch to get things moving, and then we begin to feel. And the feeling part is really what connects us with the body. And then see if you can do the same thing with the feet. So as I spread my hands out, my fingers, and I'm feeling the backs of the hands, see if you can lift and spread the toes, or spread the toes, feeling the tops of the feet as you do this. So we have these corresponding areas of the body that we're feeling here, spreading the fingers, and feeling the tops of the feet and spreading the toes. For most people, the toes will not be as responsive as the fingers, unless maybe you're a Houdini who could untie knots apparently with his toes. I could never do that. He had really long toes too, I think. You could even try closing the eyes here and see if you can feel the backs of the hands, feel the tops of the feet, and feel things spreading. Feel the toes and the fingers spreading. And let's go back to the rocking. So that can be homework. So it's really building that connection between the mind and the feet and the toes. Very good though. Spreading the toes, getting the soles of the feet to spread and be active is a good way to keep mobility in the feet. Of course, always without straining. We have to be very patient, especially with parts of the body that we don't use as much. I'm rocking the feet. And let's rock the wrists too. So rocking the wrists. And this is very much like a Tai Chi exercise. You can begin to slow it down and let the rocking come forward and back. And as you rock, see if you can feel the weight shifting a little forward as the weight comes into the balls of the feet, and the weight comes into the, we're rocking the pelvis slightly forward and then rocking back. So I'll need to slow it down a lot to begin to feel that. And maintaining our control here, whenever we're any exercise that we do, we want to maintain our control going into and out of the movement. So we do it mindfully. We begin to turn things on as we do the movement. And then as we stop the movement, we turn them slowly off. So that if we was to turn it off, I would just lower the hands down and the feet would rest flat on the floor. And that's true with any of the exercises that we do. We want to make sure we ease into the movement and then ease out of the movement. And let's go ahead and use the back of the chair here. Slide all the way back, lift the feet up. Start with the hands on the knees like this. Make sure the knees aren't moving. So even if your ankles only move a little like this. So I'm not trying to do this. Don't do the whole legs. Keep the knees stable and just do the ankles. And then if that's okay, keeping the knees where they are, you can add the wrists to it. So circling. And see if you can keep them in sync. So my fingers and toes are pointing in the same direction. They're going at the same speed as in the revolutions. You could even, if you wanted, think about spreading the toes apart as you circle the ankles. Let's go the other way. Perhaps spreading the toes when your feet are pointing up and then relaxing them when they go down. Or you could spread them the whole time. But remember, it's partial effort. Think maybe 50% effort. And the same thing with the fingers, actually. You can spread the fingers. You could even sort of wiggle the fingers like this. A little flourish. So remember, if you're trying it, go slowly at first. And see if you can feel what's happening. So the connection, let's go the other way. The connection really comes from feeling and then resting the feet, resting the hands. If we have to think about everything that we do without feeling it, it becomes very burdensome and it's very strenuous on the mind. When we begin to feel things, it's a lot less strenuous. It's like learning, anytime we learn a new task, so I'm lifting the feet now, extending the legs, just start to get into a rhythm here. Remember to sit up tall, lift the heart up, use the back of the chair here if you want. It's a lot easier with the back of the chair. It's hard. If this is really easy and you have a strong core here and you can keep the spine lifted, then don't use the back of the chair. A lot more work though. Try pressing that opposite foot down though for support. So I'm lifting. It's hard. Ideally, the pelvis, we keep that nice curve in the back. So the lumbar spine is going in as we lift the leg. If you have tight hamstrings, that's hard to do when you extend the leg. Because when we extend the leg, the hamstrings stretch and they pull the back of the pelvis down. And that, of course, does this. And we want to avoid that. We don't want the rounded back. Ideally, we'd like to be able to sit up and even lift. You might even notice you can't lift your feet as high. Your leg doesn't lift as high if you're going to keep lifted. But if you use the back of the chair, then it helps. The chair helps to support the back and keeps that natural shape. And then we can add whatever we want. We can add an arm. We can do an opposite arm. You can do an elbow like this. And think about a connection. Think about a string between the fingers and the toes, so that when the hand is going up and the fingers go up, or the elbows going up, there's a connection. They're going up together, almost like they're helping each other. And if you want more of a challenge, you could do 2 arms. Make sure you can maintain the spine, though. So we start to lose the length in the spine, then we have too many appendages moving. But if it's easy, do all 4. It's definitely more challenging to do all 4, and it would be super challenging to do all 4 without using the back of the chair. Of course, remember, we're not straining here, so we're only doing that if it comes easily or relatively, we don't have to sacrifice our comfort. There's some effort, but there's also some ease. And a couple more times. And you could stop at any time. That's always true in our practice, to please stop whenever you want. Let's go ahead and pause for a moment and slide forward in the chair. And we're going to circle around. So we're going to broaden the space between the feet and bring the feet out slightly for support. So as I lean forward, I have some good support in front of me. I have a wide base, and then I also have the feet out. So when I lean forward, it's not strenuous for the core. There's some effort, but it's not straining the core. And go ahead and look out across the room, keeping the back straight here, or not straight, but lengthened. If you need more of a challenge, you can remove the hands and begin to circle them around. You could even release the hands and circle them even further out. So this is even more of a challenge. Make sure you can keep the spine lifted, and also there's no pain or discomfort. And please go the other way. So no matter how you're doing it, whether it's supported like this, or you're stirring your pot of whatever it is you've got in front of you, soup, gazpacho maybe, something cool, maybe something made with fruit. It's always a nice summery kind of thing, maybe peach soup. But circling around, so we feel some ease, but also a little bit of effort. Some ease and some effort. And then go ahead and come back, and let's lean from one side to the other. You might want to bring the feet in slightly. And I'm going to lean and then go to the other side. So for this one, we're going to go slowly. We're going to begin to lift the foot up and balance on one buttock, and then to the other side. Be mindful about the balance part, so that if you need support, have a chair with arms, or put your hand on the edge of the chair here, so that you have a little bit of support. So my buttocks is actually out of the chair here, or I should say one buttock is in the chair. And I'm also going slowly here. If you want to have a little more fun, you could go faster. If you want more core, more work going on in the core, go slower. If you go really slow, it's even more challenging. So this is very much like when Tai Chi, we might go from side to side, shifting the balance slowly. That's why it's so good for balance. It makes us focus on all the little muscles, all the coordination that's required to balance. So you could also, if you're tired of sitting, you could even do this exercise standing like this. going back and forth, lifting, just being mindful about balance, especially if you're going to start to lift the knee higher and lean to one side. So it's not necessarily better to be standing. The nice thing, although the nice thing about standing in anything that we do during our day is it's a good change of pace from sitting. And sitting is not, just like standing all day isn't great, sitting all day isn't either. It's nice to change it up. Do a period of time with both, so alternating. And of course, if you want to make it more challenging, you could even bring the foot up higher. And now we start to look like tree pose or crane pose, if you remember crane pose. And take a couple of breaths. Let's do some cactus breaths. I'm going to do a chest opener. So your choice here, you can do it seated like this. I'll show it both ways. We'll start seated. I'm going to bring the hands somewhere behind me or to the side. So I have my hands to the side. Notice the elbows are back, the chest spreads apart when my hands are to the side. Automatically, you want to keep the belly firm here. Don't let the belly stick way out. So we're not, so we don't want to compensate with the belly going really far forward because we get too big a curve in the lower back with that. So we want to bring the hands back somewhere. You could even interlace them behind the back if that's comfortable. And then, of course, the alternative is to do it standing. And notice the position of the hands is the same. And then we want to firm the belly up. So you might actually, this is the belly kind of sticking out. And then I move the navel back towards the spine by contracting the belly. So I have to consciously think about the belly firming up and moving it back. And you'll notice too, especially if you're standing, that the buttocks contract here. When you contract the belly, the buttocks contract, and then the shoulder blades move together. And take a few breaths here. Find a position where you can still breathe. So if you're in this position and you can't breathe, or you're so there's so much tension that you can't breathe, then try a different position. Try the hands on the hips. You could also put the hands like this. This is another way to practice. With the fingers down. Notice the palms are right at the top of the buttocks, right where the really sort of the arch, where the arch of the back is. Be mindful of the wrists here. So with the fingers pointing down, you may feel it in the wrists. So we don't want to strain the wrists. So if that bothers your wrists, then interlace the fingers like this. So we have a lot of options: standing, seated, where do the hands go? But the effort is really going towards that opening of the heart, and hopefully a little bit easier to breathe. Relax the shoulders down. So that belly, so we firm the belly just enough to keep the posture, to keep that nice posture. If you firm the belly too much, it's hard to breathe. So we have to find a balance between firming the belly and then still being able to breathe. And let's swing the hands. So this is standing, swinging the hands. And if I do it seated, not really so different. You just have to be a little bit more careful because the chair is right behind us. We want to make sure we don't bang. And notice that the movement, a lot of the movement is coming down here in that belt between the hip bones and the ribs. You could even just move the elbows back. Be mindful that you don't whack anything behind you. So you might need to slide forward in the chair so you're away from the back of the chair if you're seated. And then go ahead and release the hands down. Let's do the neck. So we'll sit up tall and lift the chin, and then release the chin down. Think about inhaling and lifting the chin up, and exhaling, releasing down. Still keeping the spine long, though. It's going to bend a little, but it's a small bending. You might even notice the chest moves forward and back just a little bit. So when we move one part of the spine, in this case the neck, it affects all the other parts, even all the way down to the pelvis. And then let's sit up tall and release. The head is going to just gently rest to the side. We can add a pillow for support. So inhale up and exhale, releasing the ear. So follow your breath here. The exhalation is the perfect time for that relaxation and for that stretching of the top of the neck to occur. So see if you can coordinate the breath with the movement. So even if it's a little faster, if your breath is a little faster, you have to move the hands faster if you're making a pillow with the hands. And then coming back up, and we're going to gently, actually, let's massage the ears. So go ahead and give the ears a little squeeze. So we'll do two things here. We'll squeeze the edges of the ear, working up and down the ear like this. This is to help the fascia that are in the ear. They connect to the fascia around the neck. And then the other thing I'm going to do is gently squeeze, and at the same time let the ear slide through the fingertips. But there's no pain. It's almost like a little massage. You're gently tugging the ear. Please, no pain. Or I should say, I used to have a yoga teacher who used to say pain is optional in the class. So pain is optional. It's not a good idea, though. Please. It's the only thing good about pain is it's telling you to stop doing that, which is natural, right? We need pain in a way. Pain protects us from injury, assuming we respond and stop doing whatever it is we're doing when we begin to feel pain. So turning the head now from side to side. Let's add that hand. So just following the hand back and forth. Now the other hand, perhaps closing the eyes, keeping the shoulders relaxed here. So feel the feet supporting you, feel the sitting bones supporting you, the spine's extending up. There's some lengthening in the spine as we swish the hand back and forth and swish the nose. And then switch hands again. And now let's do the opposite. So the hand is going in one direction while the head is turning in the other. Keep the elbow relaxed. So the elbow is kind of hanging down. Shoulders relaxed, elbows relaxed, even the wrist is relaxed here. So a ease with the wrists and the fingers. And then let's switch. Notice that the head turns to one side, the fingers get to the opposite side, and then they go back the other way. And ideally, they cross right in the middle. That can be a little challenging to get the timing just right. Well, practice can be to require practice. And then coming back, roll the shoulders. Let's do some swimming. So let's start with some big rolling and then add the backstroke to it. Letting the torso begin to turn. Torso is turning. And then if this feels okay, you can add the full backstroke with the hands. So remember, we want the shoulder joint to be stable here. Keep it in the joint. So if that means smaller movements, that's okay. Can even think about keeping the arms in. And in the beginning, that helps to find your stability in the movement. And then let's go the other way. So reaching straight out first, like this. And then if that feels okay, you can begin to reach across and down the outside of the opposite leg, letting the body turn a little bit more. Gently laying the ear as if you were swimming, laying the ear in the water. The water's down here. I'm laying my ear gently in the water. I'm not overturning my head though. So it's it's really gentle turning of the body and then very gently laying the ear down. And then coming back up, sitting up nice and tall, and circling the nose around. So as if we're making a spiral with the tip of the nose, and then begin to make the nose, the spiral a little bigger. And going the other way, please. Now start to make the spiral smaller. So it gets smaller and smaller, as if I'm drawing with the tip of my nose a spiral until it gets right to the middle, and just take a breath. So let's do our do some yoga poses. We're going to start with tree pose. Now let's do tree pose. It's a combination of grounding with the feet as well as balance at the same time. One of the beauties about yoga is it teaches us or helps us to feel grounded. And we all need that, especially these days. Sitting up tall in mountain pose. Mountain pose is also a grounding pose. So we'll do it twice. Show it first seated and then standing. If you know it's standing and you want to start with do standing both times, feel free. Sitting up tall and then stepping the foot out. Let's try that again. Bring the foot back. And then the weight is mostly on this opposite foot. So as I step this foot, feel the weight shifting more into this buttock and this leg. And if you're standing, you'll just feel it in the foot. And stepping the foot out. The body tends to turn, so we turn the body back towards the front. So there's a nice, it's almost a 90-degree angle right here. And then bringing the sole of the foot on the inside of the chair leg or on the inside of the calf if you're standing. Sitting up tall, let's inhale and lift the arms up like this first. Get length in the spine. So one of the goals in all our poses is to do the pose with length in the spine. So we use the arms to help lengthen the spine. Pressing this foot down, foot on this standing leg down, and feeling the lengthening of the spine up. And then if you want, you can add the hands somewhere, either our prayer position, our arms extended like tree branches, or you can even have the hands over the head. If you want more of a challenge, this is too easy, you can begin to bring the elbows in a little closer. Keep the shoulders relaxed here. The face and eyes are relaxed. And the sole of the foot is gently pressing into the calf or into the chair leg. So there is a little action going on in the groin area here, just a very gentle, and that's for stability. So we're not overdoing it, and we don't want to press so hard. If you're standing, don't press so hard that it pushes the leg out. We want firmness. We want to build firmness and stability. And then whenever you're ready, you can lower the arms down and then bring the foot back. And sitting up nice and tall, we'll do the other side. Press this leg down, step the other foot out this time, turn the torso back so that you're facing straight ahead, and then find a spot for the sole of the foot. Pressing that standing foot down, standing leg extends, and then again with the arms lifting up. And you can skip the arm step if you feel like you can extend the spine, no problem. You don't need to do this. But it's a nice way to train or to begin to teach the body to extend. And we all need, or most of us need, unless we're a dancer and we have really good posture all the time, we need help with our posture, our extension of the spine. And there are dancers, you see ballet dancers that always have good posture. It's like they were born that way. And so hands or tree branches or hands over the head. Keeping the face and eyes soft. So no matter where you are, we're breathing fully into the belly, into the ribs, extending the spine, pressing the standing foot down. The sole of that other foot is firmly against the leg of the chair or the calf as we extend up. And whenever you're ready, you can, with control, bring the arms down, bring the foot back, and sit up tall. You could even do a little turning like this for a moment. So we'll show it standing now. Make sure that if you have any trouble with balance, make sure, or you're concerned about balance, have a chair handy. Even if you just touch it with your fingers, even if you just have it in front for courage. And 2 chairs is even better. You could have one behind you, or you could stand in front of a wall and have the chair in front. Really good way to practice as well. So standing up nice and tall, gently bend the knees, straighten the legs, stand up nice and tall. And then go ahead and step the foot out so that this leg is the one that's, the foot is pressing, the leg is extending. And then we can inhale, lift the arms up. Do that a couple of times. Think about lengthening the spine up. The whole body is extending and lifting up. And then go ahead and bring the sole of the foot onto the calf, or if you're seated, onto the chair leg. And you can add your arms. Remember, we have the 3 positions, the heart, the branches, or above. And if you're standing, perhaps a drishti point, focusing your attention, something that won't move. Relaxing the face and the eyes, softening the gaze. Remember to breathe. Opening the heart, extending, grounding the foot into the earth as you extend the leg up. and gently pressing the sole of the foot. And whenever you're ready, you can lower the arms down and come back. And do the other side now. So mountain pose again. So remember with mountain pose, it's this combination of the quadriceps, the gluteal muscles, and the abdomen stabilizing the core of the body. So we can do that by bending the knees slightly. So I have my knees bent slightly, and then I straighten, the thighs move back, the buttocks firm up. It's like they squeeze together a little bit. The belly moves in. So all three of those things, as I lift my heart up and move the shoulders back, relaxing the arms down. The soles of the feet, I feel them pressing into the floor. So that energy that is rising up from the soles of the feet, up through the legs, up through the belly, up through the spine, up through the crown of the head. And all this time, the arms are relaxed. They're moved back, but they're relaxed. You can even shake them out a little bit. Let's try the other side now. So we always pause for just a moment in mountain pose, and we get that action in the body, that especially the lengthening and the support underneath us. We step the foot out and press this other foot. So you can tap the foot the toe a couple of times. So this foot's pressing down, leg is extending, spine is lifting. Let's try the arms again. So feel the whole body lifting up, extending up as we do as we ground ourselves. We feel grounded, and then we can bend and bring the sole of the foot on the inside of the calf. And see if you can find some ease here as you extend the straight leg, or as you extend the leg with the foot on the floor, and raising the chest up and adding the arms, however you want, in the front of the heart, out like branches, or over the head. You pick. Find that drishti point, soften the gaze there. Remember to breathe. Let go of some of the effort. So keep some effort and let go of some. And then whenever you're ready, you can begin to lower the arms down, bring the foot back, and let's swing the arms. Mindful, especially if you have a second chair. Whack the chair. And let's go ahead and actually, let's do this. We're going to do chair pose. So we'll do it twice. We'll do it seated. I'll show it seated first. And I'm going to use this chair and be sideways. So you can begin to do chair pose. So chair pose it's as if you're sitting in a chair. And we can come at it either from standing up from the chair, or being standing like this and starting to sit down. So you're welcome to do, if you know chair pose in either direction and you prefer it that way, please go ahead. I'm going to show it from the chair first though. Positioning the feet about hip width apart so that I can start to feel the weight as I come forward. Notice the back is still lengthening. I'm bending down here at where the hip joint is. So right here in the front. And I'm coming over the feet, and I'm going to start to lift up. Press the feet down. And notice it's just a little lift up. If I have trouble getting out of the chair, especially I want to do it evenly, left and right side are the same here. I can add a little bit of height. The more height I add, the easier it's going to be to lift off. and I start to come up, but then I'm going to come back down. So I'm just going to lift off for a moment. And I'm keeping the heads, my gaze is straight ahead. So my feet are pressing evenly. I can put my hands right on the end of the thighs near the knees and lift off like this. And when I lift, I'm engaging the firmness here, and also the buttocks. So that lifting and coming back down with control. So try not to bang down when you come back down. If you find yourself banging perhaps a cushion or something under here, we don't want to like bang ourselves on the chair. And then eventually we go all the way up. And so the opposite of that, so you can continue to work on that one if you're working in the chair. And then the other one is the standing one. So it's the opposite. So I begin to, as if I'm going to sit down in a chair, I'm got the gluteal muscles turned on, the belly is moving in. So I squeeze together here. I bring firmness to the belly, and I begin to come down like this, and then I can come back up. So keep those, at least the whole core is working here, and the weight begins to shift back into the heels. You could also bring the hands out like this for balance if you like. So it can be done with the hands on the hips or the hands out for balance, making sure that the knees stay straight. So if you're looking from this direction, the knees are not splaying in or out. They're going straight ahead, and the feet are about hip width. And that's important because we want good alignment as we begin to go down. And eventually, if we work at it, and if you have trouble reaching the chair, remember you can always add height to it. But eventually, you can start to sit down. And notice how it's nice and even, or I'm trying to sit nice and evenly instead of favoring one side. If you ever notice when you get in and out of a chair, there's a tendency to favor, you use your hand and you favor one side. So I'm starting to sit down. Make sure you land in your chair. So bring your hands here so you can feel the chair. And then the opposite. So the whole exercise eventually is going up and down. Firmness, firmness, firmness in the buttocks. That's going to really power us up. This core strength powers us out of the chair. So the best way to learn that exercise is start with the support underneath the buttocks, height, whatever height you need, and then keep practicing and then remove as you start to build strength. And it gets easier. Then if you have 3 blankets, you go to 2. And then you have 2 blankets, you go to 1. But give yourself some time. Probably if you practice regularly, at least a couple of weeks between each blanket so that you have a chance to build strength. And let's sit back down and do some cactus breaths. You might even notice that chair pose gives a little aerobic activity. It's definitely more aerobic than some of the other poses that we do. So inhaling. Oh, and if you want, you can give yourself a hug. Whenever you're ready, you can settle into Shavasana here. Oh, actually, let's do, before we do that, let's do a sun breath. Do 3 sun breaths. So around 3 times, the hands up, breathing in, exhaling. And one more time. Just the heart, giving the heart a chance to open, relaxing the shoulders down, and then finding a spot somewhere for the hands. Letting the eyes close, feeling supported by the chair. So the back is supported. It's a little easier to sit with ease here. Finding some ease in Shavasana with the breath, with the good posture, but without too much effort. So now we've dialed back the effort a lot, and maybe 80% dialed back, and maybe 20% effort, 80% ease. Softening the face and eyes. Noticing the belly moving with the breath. So that'll complete our class for today. And please stay a little bit longer in your Shavasana. It's an important part of the practice is to rest and let everything just go back to normal at the end. I'll see everyone next time. Thank you for practicing today. Thank you for your hard work. Namaste.